Alright, episode 4, support and resistance. This is an important episode, again, another important episode after the market direction. This is going to be the building blocks of your technical analysis. This is how you trade in a range. This is probably the easiest strategy you can use as support and resistance, right? So, you better watch these videos in order, by the way, because each video is a building block after another video, right? Every video is a building block to another bigger video. So, support and resistance, what does it mean? Support and resistance is simply just support. When price bounces off support, it goes upwards. When price bounces off resistance, it goes downwards. They're just zones. The chart works like a pinball machine. It bounces from one zone to another, and those zones are support and resistance zones. They're points of interest. So what does it look like? Here's what a typical support and resistance zone would look like. If you watch the last video, it looks a lot like a range. That's how you trade in ranges, is using support and resistance. The top line here is a resistance line. Every time price hits the resistance, it has a down move. Vice versa, every time it hits a support, it has an up move, right? Simple. You know, take a picture of that, snip it, whatever, save it. That's basic support and resistance. So, number 3, what are some examples? So I have a few examples written out here, or not written out, drawn out basically. So support and resistance, here we have a range, right? After a downtrend, we have a range to continue down. So in the range, we have a high that's formed after the down move, and this high is hit repeatedly to give sellers points to trade. So every time it hits this point, it moves down, and vice versa on the bottom side. Every time it hits this low point multiple times, it has an up move. So this happens all over the chart. Here's another one right here. It bounces, it has a low which makes a high, which bounces like a pinball machine, and eventually it breaks out. Same here, it bounces, eventually it breaks out. Same up here. You even have a really small one up here, right? This would be a 1 minute range, right? It bounces it multiple times. You have the high zone up here and it breaks out, right? It's kind of like a wedge, basically. It's kind of like a squeezing thing, support and resistance, right? Eventually it's going to break out, and that brings me on to my next point. How can you trade support and resistance? So by looking at the chart and identifying your support and resistance zones, how can you trade support and resistance? There's 3 ways to trade it. Number 1, being the most basic way to trade it, is to just buy and sell support and resistance lines. So if you identify a support line, you identify a low that's maybe been hit twice, or you identify a low, you identify a support zone, you just buy the support zone, right? And place your take profit at the or you take your profits at the resistance zone, and then you sell on the resistance zone, and that's basically it. That's the whole strategy. You could have done it here: buy, sell, buy, sell. Could have done it multiple times in here. You could have just bought once and sold once, right? So that's the first way you can trade it. The second way to trade it is a breakout, right? So breakout traders, what they wait for is they wait for either the support or the resistance zone to be broken. So it's getting wedged in between the support and resistance. The candles are getting wedged, and then eventually it's going to fall out or break up above the support and resistance. So in this case, it broke below the support, or broke below the support. So what a breakout trader would do is he would see this happening, and he would place a sell. So he would take a trade here and make money off it going down, right? That's what a breakout trader would do. The same here. It eventually breaks resistance, breaks out of resistance. Breakout trader, he just take a trade here and ride it up, right? He would buy when he saw the resistance is breaking and make money. And the third way to trade it is a break and retest trader. So a break and retest trader, what they'll wait for is for a price to break under a resistance or over a support, and then they'll make their play when the price comes back to that zone on the opposite side. So here we have a support zone that's broken. So the first trader is taking trades here and here and here, and then it breaks out, and the second trader comes in to take the breakout trade, and the third and final trader takes the trade when price comes back to it on the underside. Alright, so those are the 3 ways to trade support and resistance. They're very simple, very easy, very profitable ways to trade support and resistance. It's one of my favourite strategies. The same here. Now, this move is pretty shit, to be honest. They're not always going to be big moves, but again, you can see people are still buying the opposite side of this resistance zone. So, there you go. That's support and resistance explained as quick, easy as possible. That's all you need to know about support and resistance. You don't need to go into it deeper. It's just points of interest. The chart is like a pinball machine. All it's doing is bouncing from resistance, support, breakout. So you have resistance, support, breakout. So yeah, all the chart is doing is bouncing from support and resistance zone to another one, to another one, to another one. That's all it is. And that's how you can trade it. 3 ways to trade it. Some examples. There you have it.